Hi, good morning. Thank you for being here. My name is Cynthia. I've realized I often greet or open my video with a greeting from the time of day, and I really intend that these readings are timeless. So you might be catching this in the middle of the night if you can't sleep or whatever, but for me it's morning, and I just got up, and I'm just going to go for talking about the subject because I really have nothing to lose in my life at this point, and it's been kind of a wild journey for me of coming to think about these themes and what they mean and if I believe in them or not. I'm new to it. I am not by any means the first card reader or someone who does channeled messages like through scrying. I'm not in any way new. I mean, I'm not unique in discussing this, and I'm really a newcomer to themes like this around black magic. It took me a lot of time in my own life to sort through whether I really believed in that kind of thing like black magic, or even truly for a lot of my life, whether I even really believed in hell or the devil. And so I'm not going to go too deeply into my personal belief system about it, but I wanted to do a layout, and I got inspired, and before I overthought it too much, I thought I would just go for it, because you might be someone like me who's also newer to these concepts and worried at times that you might be crazy, or that you feel like you're having this kind of experience but that nobody would believe you, or I don't know. So I'm not necessarily asking anyone to, God, Kate, come here. Why don't you come here instead of shriek from over there? So you might be someone who's struggling to learn about or understand these types of themes and practices in black magic, and that's me. I've really been on a journey and the theme that I wanted to get into about this is a subject called destiny swapping. And I'm totally new to that concept. Like, this is only a concept that I've been introduced to within like the last 2 months maybe. And had you asked me about that before, I wouldn't have known anything about it, and I would have truly said it sounds crazy to me, or I would have listened to a reader that talks about destiny swapping in their readings and think that reader's way down that road, and that's not me. Like, I would have felt kind of like I wanted to not go there, I guess, myself or on my channel or anything. Well, that all has changed, and so I'm just open to talking about it now and having the courage to talk about it, because I'm just in a place of security in my life where I don't feel so worried about what other people think about my intellect, or whether I'm Western science-based or esoteric mystic, whatever. I'm not as attached to my identity around being someone who uses logic and reason like I used to. I had a lot of atheism around me and a large skeptical community that wasn't open to these things, and so I often felt kind of alone in that. Like, it was a really solo pursuit of knowledge and interest for me, and I'm just far less worried about it now. And mainly I really need to thank other readers on here who have had the courage to speak openly about destiny swapping. And so destiny swapping is a term or a practice that can occur in black magic, where if you have decided that you want what someone else has, it comes through narcissism, jealousy, envy, and wounding, honestly. Someone who's got kind of a wounded spirit, maybe from really difficult life experience, that plays out for them in ways that might be more like narcissism or just rage and jealousy and envy. And I've had people like that in my life, in my family, and then you just run across people like that in the world, either in the workplace or whatever, and they can really make you pay for their wounds, right? Like their envy or their jealousy. And what led me to do this or talk about this is I had a nightmare a few weeks ago now that I almost felt like I wasn't going to wake up. Like, I felt like I was going to die in the dream, truly. It was somewhat of a lucid dream, but the gist was that I started having flashbacks to times in my life with a person who has harbored a lot of resentment towards me and envy and jealousy. And it was showing me these real events that had happened in my life, and when this person started to become twisted up in this kind of thinking towards me. And then it showed me being in like a whirlwind or a tornado of twister energy. Almost like in The Wizard of Oz, when Dorothy gets swept up in the tornado and then goes into the land of Oz. It kind of had that feeling, although not in any, I mean, it was terrifying. It's one of the worst nightmares I've ever had. And it was showing that someone stole my life, basically. I was in the wrong life. I was living the wrong reality. And it was showing me who did that to me, who tried to make that happen, and all of the history that led to the point of them trying to swap destinies with me because they wanted something, I don't even know what, they wanted something that they felt was going to be mine. And the way that destiny swapping magic works, I'm very new to this, so please correct me if you know more about it, but you can go into somebody's birth chart if you have their natal chart and use their birth chart information to work magic against them, to take what's theirs and make it yours. And I don't know anything about it other than that. I don't know how it's done. I only know what I'm starting to sense is what it has looked like for me and how it has played out. One of the ways it's played out is suddenly start feeling surrounded by people who I love and trust, living experiences that kind of felt like, that's weird, that feels like it's from my life. Like what, and I'm not saying all these people have tried to swap destinies with me, but it's the way that it has come into my awareness, because it kept happening. And I kept thinking, why does this keep happening? Why do I keep feeling like these people that I love and I don't want to feel envy towards are living experiences that somehow seem connected to my life in ways that were beyond like a coincidence? Like, oh, you like that? So do I. Like, I don't own interests of things or life experiences. They're not, I mean, life is for everyone, right? Including the kinds of experiences that feel particularly meaningful to me and that I have lived. But that nightmare, the result was that I started to feel the terror of not being able to wake up, like I was going to die in that dream, or my real reality, my real life where I should be living was never going to be mine again, and that I was going, almost like Freaky Friday, where you trade places with someone. And it was really, really terrifying. And it took everything I had in the lucid dream to wake myself up. And I actually got scared that I wasn't going to be able to wake myself up, and I was going to be stuck in somebody else's life, or in the wrong life, a wrong version of my life where there was a lot of suffering. And it was so powerful. The dream was so powerful. It was way beyond any typical dream. Any dream I've ever had, even, it was way beyond. I've had one other dream in my early childhood that came even kind of close to this, and it took me days to try to make sense of this dream. And then I kind of started just looking into it, and also coincidentally, I would get a card reading come across my feed that spoke directly to what I was experiencing. So I was like, well, maybe I should open myself up to this. Maybe I should listen to it, because I have opened myself up to recognizing the potential damage that black magic can do in life, because I had some experiences that I did trust, that I was like, yeah, black magic, who am I to say it's not real? Like, thousands and maybe even millions of people believe in and acknowledge the reality of black magic and the kinds of damages that it can do towards others. And so from there, it felt like another really big leap to look at something like destiny swapping. So I'm not going to tell a lot about my experience, because that's mine to keep. I know who it is, though. I know who carried this out against me. And when I was thinking about it this morning, I was just sobbing, because this is someone that I truly loved. We haven't always been able to connect because there were some real layers of mistrust between us that we could never seem to overcome. I now see why that is, because of some of their own patterns. But part of what was so hard for me is because I love this person so much, and I deeply feel for the things that they experienced growing up. Really, truly, like, because I love them. They're a close person in my life, and I truly feel heartbroken for the things that they had to experience that I didn't have to go through. But that's where the seed of the jealousy and the resentment was born, because in their eyes, I seemed to have all the things that they were robbed of, right? And from there, it's like maybe they fed that in themselves versus trying to surrender or release that and come to a new relationship towards me that was sort of based on us as people and not our traumas from our I don't really know, honestly. Like I'm pretty wise about human behavior, but this has almost been beyond my comprehension, which is why I wanted to do a reading about it, because again, you might be someone like me that this is really wild and new ways of looking at the world. Whether you even can believe in something like this, that someone would be capable of stealing your destiny, right? Like, it's just, do I even believe in destiny, right? Like, I have all those thoughts that, so finally I thought, well, I shouldn't be afraid and ashamed that I'm on this journey. I should share it because I am a card reader, because I do value the esoteric, because I do look at the world in the polarities of lightness and darkness and shadow work and understanding your shadow and narcissism and jealousy and everything, right? So it's going to hopefully have a feeling for me of liberating myself from the fear of talking about these topics, because most people in my life know by now that I'm open to these things. And if they think I'm nuts, so be it. I really, truly can let that go anymore. I'm not afraid to face that fact that maybe not everybody's going to be able to come on this road with me of this way of looking at life. And that's okay. That's not for everyone. And I totally respect that. But now I'm just going to do a layout for you, and it's not necessarily going to be destiny swapping, although if it comes out, great, but it's mainly just about how to navigate a feeling of betrayal, because that's what has happened for me as this unfolded over the last month or so, is how betrayed I felt and how confused and scared for a while I felt, because I didn't understand how to even deal with starting to think like this. Like, is this something that could really be happening? Like, you know, it's just been really a lot. So again, this is just to maybe try to help you have your feet on the ground about it too. How to not live in fear, because that's part of what lends black magic power, is if it impacts your sense of safety and fear in the world. So by talking about these things and shining a light on it, I truly believe that we can have less fear about it. And so it's helping me as well to discuss this from a place of courage instead of fear. I also think that that person's probably going to see this and maybe try to retaliate against me speaking out about it, but they don't have any power over me anymore. I know I'm protected because I have a trusting relationship with my creator, and I feel very sad for this person. I feel very heartbroken over it, not just for myself, but for them. I don't understand how they could have let that kind of stuff grow so much within them that they would really try to attack me, and what feels also like try to murder me in this way. That I know that's very dramatic, but if you think about what that felt like, to feel like my life has been stolen, it's like a death. Like I'm living in the wrong reality. I'm not supposed to be here, and I could not wake myself up. It was so scary. When I woke up, it took me even a while to come out of the dream. Even once my eyes were open, it's like I was still seeing it. It was one of the most terrifying dreams I've ever had. So I know that it's going to be worthwhile. I'm just going to trust that it's worthwhile to talk about here. And I'm with you as someone who may have trouble accepting these concepts yourself. I hear you. That is me as well. I'm brand new to this concept. I've only just started to kind of read about it and what it even can look like in someone's life. But it can look like, I'm just not going to get into it. You can do your own looking if it feels applicable to you. Just what is destiny swapping? There's a lot of readers in the YouTube world that are willing to discuss that. You can search online. Black magic is a very, very old practice. It's had its own lineage and history of strength, right, and what it can be used for. It was a lot more common in the past when people often didn't have any way to get a sense of justice, so they felt like, well, I'll curse that person and that's my justice. That's where I get my sense of peace, because justice has eluded me, whether it's because life has been too powerful or whatever. But regardless, Do I feel like I deserve that? Hell no. Especially because I truly did love this person. But the fact that I confronted them on some stuff way back when this all started to unfold, they did not like that. And I think it created a narcissistic rage in them that they just fed and kept feeding, and it kept growing. All the while, kind of when we would have contact, being in this smiling faces kind of mode with me. I would never have had a clue that something like this could happen between us. Truly. It's been very sobering. So anyways, enough about that. Let's get into just any kind of betrayal you might be experiencing and what's going to be a good way to approach that for you. To come from a place of empowerment and where love is the guiding principle in your life, and not revenge and envy and covetousness, right? How's the betrayal been for you? What will be helpful for you to understand about the experience that you've had about a betrayal? Wow, this is so beautiful. I'm so glad I'm doing this. I'm so glad. And you know what? If you don't like this kind of talk and you think it's off the deep end or crazy, or you think it's irresponsible for someone like me with a counseling degree to talk about this level of stuff, share it with me. I invite you. I invite a discussion in the comments, because I am Western trained. I'm a clinical social worker. So for me to talk about this, many might say is irresponsible. I don't think that way though, because social work doesn't think that way. Social work is empowerment based, and social work embraces and adopts the reality that people come from multiple traditions and backgrounds, and it's not for me to impose my view of what's true and what's not onto somebody else. So that's why in part I have the courage to do this as well, because I don't feel like I'm betraying the other part of me that's a clinical professional, right? So what's happening for you in this feeling of betrayal? It's a King of Swords. It's a masculine energy that you feel has acted against you in some way with their sword, like a wounding. It came in the reverse, and I'm going to read this in the reverse because I'm talking about something like destiny swapping. I don't usually read reversals, but this is, if we're talking about an inverted reality, I'm going to read the reversals here because they're in play. A King of Swords in the reverse is a very powerful and cunning warrior that can really do damage and can wound you. And that's what I sense that you're experiencing, is that a man may have worked against you in some way, or someone in masculine energy. It's created a feeling in you of being abandoned, or that you are going to lose everything, that you're going to be left out in the cold because of this person's behavior. This may have been an abuser, a narcissist in your own life, someone that really has had a lot of control in your psyche and maybe in your physical world as well. And it's had you really wondering, am I going to lose everything? This is a fear and sad and lonely card, the way it's come out here. You may also be sensing that there is a dark, a witch that practices black magic that's been a part of it as well. Maybe these two folks teamed up. The facts are that there is a magician card here in the reverse, and a high priestess card in the reverse, that has tried to create this feeling in you of being left out, or being that you'll never have enough. The Five of Pentacles is that kind of a card. You're never going to be let back into the church. You're always going to be slated to watch from outside while everybody else is safe and loved inside. This is the feeling they're trying to create, you may feel. So I asked about destiny swapping, and I got 3 big cards here, a high priestess and a magician in reverse, and a King of Swords in reverse. So this might literally be something that you're feeling also. It can also just be feeling like there are players in your life that have far more power than you, and that may feel like they're actively trying to destroy you, right? Just through their behavior, not necessarily through a magical practice, but through, it could be getting tangled up with a dangerous family, for example, that has a lot of violence and threats and manipulation woven into the family system. It could be something like that, that it makes you feel that you've just been overpowered and you don't know how to come out of this sense of like, I'm just never gonna have enough or have what I need or have the love and care that I need. The vulnerability for you is that you're worried that this is all crazy. Just like I was saying, you have this Ace of Swords feels like a vulnerability for you. You're not sure what's real. You're not sure who you can trust. You're not sure if these thoughts are insane. That can be part of a destiny swap, is to make you feel like you're crazy so that no one, or to sound crazy so that no one will listen to you, right? So that people think you're off the rails. You may be also doubting yourself, like, what kind of world is that? Like, I don't even believe in that. Like, that was me a while back. Like, I don't even believe in black magic, yet I kept feeling, not from this person I'm discussing here, but someone else in my life, but someone who had very similar qualities to the person I think may have carried out or paid someone to do a destiny swap with me, a practitioner, right? Someone with more power. Another person I had in my life that was a practitioner or a believer in this is when I first started to be open to it, like that someone had done spell work against me. In the center of things here, the center of this layout is the Two of Swords. Yeah, you feel like they've been blocking you and preventing joy, preventing your growth, preventing your money, preventing your security, preventing your stability, blocking you through really powerful magic. It's here with two of the most powerful practitioners in the deck in reverse, the Magician and the High Priestess. The strength is that you do see, you are watching and waiting and looking, and that might be a good move to be in right now, is to maintain a low profile like a page. Dark arrow, I have one of my cards just came into, my own cards just came to mind. Dark arrows, use caution, lower your profile. That's kind of a Page of Swords energy, and it's your strength to be in this kind of energy right now. I'm not doing that. I'm not in a Page of Swords energy right now. I'm like blasting this right through by doing this video. Not that this has a huge range. I don't have, I don't have a huge audience, but it's your strength that you've started to clue in and catch on. Like, I've got to watch and wait and learn about these people working against me so that I know what to do. That's a strength. So it's okay. You are seeing clearly. There's some manipulative energy here that's really powerful. You may be having trouble trusting that, and this reading can help you get your feet up back on the ground and out of that nightmare. The shadow aspect of yourself feels that this has been unfair and imbalanced, and that there's never been a give and take really present here. It's in the reverse. You feel cheated. You feel that this is an unfair experience, and your shadow might be trying to help you find a way to get this back into balance so that you don't feel so vulnerable and exposed and casted out. The Five of Pentacles can be an image of feeling cast out of the warm, inviting, loving cathedral that you're looking through the windows and you feel casted out for some reason. The shadow aspect of yourself is really speaking to you about, like, these relationships have never been balanced. They've never been fair. Even if you've tried, even if you've loved them, they've never had your back. And so it's important to listen to that, but it's also going to be helpful to you to be careful that you don't do what these people do and feed your shadow by perpetuating those fears, right? You have choices. That's in the seen world. You're in this Page of Swords energy where you're kind of watching and waiting, and you have choices about how you want to deal with it. We can pull cards about what those choices might be, but this is in the seen world. You have options here. You have a couple different ways you can go with this information. It's a strength for you that you're willing to kind of lay low and watch and wait right now. This is so beautiful. This is where the energy is headed, which is the Star. You have hope here to come out of this, especially if you start recognizing that it's real. And again, I'm not saying black magic necessarily, although there's two practitioner cards here. It could just be being surrounded by people with really toxic behavioral patterns like narcissism, right? That want what's yours, that keep you off kilter, that triangulate against you all the time, or then try to pull you back into the triangle. Like, now it's you and I team up against them, and you just don't want any part of any of it. This is the Star card and where the energy is headed. So the Star to me in this means that you have a collaborative relationship with a higher power that you need to draw on right now to give you the strength you need to face whatever you're going through in this circumstance. And don't forget that. There's hope. Keep your eye on the star. Make your wishes to your higher power saying, help me, protect me, guide me through this. I don't know what to do. I'm scared. There's fear here, right? But you have the guidance of the star. You can even think of this as like the Star of Bethlehem, right? Like if you're a Christian person, many Christian people do believe that something like, I don't believe tarot's evil, but Christian people often will acknowledge, yeah, there's black magic. It's of the devil. Like you want to stay away from Ouija boards and things like that, right? So you may be a Christian person who resonates with the protective energy of Jesus. And you can use the Star of Bethlehem as a guide, reassuring you that you're going to be okay as long as you follow the guidance of a greater power than you, that's of the light, right? That's not a devilish power. I'm going to pull a card here about what was I going to, I guess just more detail, more circumstance about what are the circumstances that have you feeling, what has happened? I probably should do Kipper or Lenormand too to get the mundane details of the 3D, how it's played out for you and what it's looked like. The Ace of Wands at the bottom of the deck. It might have something to do with passion, new beginnings, new starts. Maybe somebody saw that your life was headed in a really wonderful direction and they wanted to prevent that. They felt envy and jealousy again, and they didn't feel like why does this person get everything good? They wanted to trade places with you. This might be how they were walking in the world, feeling cast out from their family or their loved ones, or never feeling like they fit in, or nursing their wounds that they fed versus tried to heal, right? Nursing grudges. They might be trying to, so now you're the one that feels cast out and they get everything that they saw you, that they thought you had, right? The Magician card again, right here, beyond that Ace of Wands, so that's there. God damn, this is amazing. You have choices, the Two of Pentacles, but this could also represent trading places, like a swap. Like, look at the way these dolphins are swimming here. This person might have tried to trade places with you. It could even be something like stealing your lover. Like if you were really in love with someone and then they came in and seduced them away from you, right? It's like trading places is what they were after. Because you're an Empress, because you're someone who has attracted a lot of abundance or has the power to attract and magnetize to you joy, abundance, fruitfulness, right? Knight of Pentacles, Page of Pentacles, and the High Priestess. So these are the people that were involved here. These kind of players around you. You might know who these are. This is a feminine energy, the High Priestess. And then also a powerful magician, which is a masculine energy. And then two masculine energies here. So it might be that one of these pages or knights was someone to you that then they try. I don't know. I'm going to, I think now, pull some Lenormand to give us more information. I feel really energized by doing this reading, which is also a cue that I'm on the right track, because I had to really think about it this morning. Like, do you want to speak openly about this? This is a really scary topic. It sounds way beyond anything that could be real, right? Like, at least for me, there's probably lots of people in the world that have known this kind of thing can be real for a long time, and I'm just new to it, so it's been really rattling for me to figure out, do I even want to talk about it, right? Who are these players? There's another theme out there that's gaining traction in the ether called gang stalking. That's a subject that mental health has really tried to take on. Like, how do we address this? Because more and more people are describing experiences of feeling like they've been gang stalked. And there's now publications about it, like what it can look like. There's been some evidence of it happening to people, so it's got a little more traction than it used to, where there've actually been, to my understanding, a couple cases where people have been able to prove this has been happening to them in the court system, right? So it could be something like that, like all these players involved have made you feel like you're losing your mind. Like, am I being stalked? Am I being watched? I mean, it normally we would think in our culture that that means you're being paranoid and you need medication. But it's gained enough, like, awareness where people have said more and more, like, I feel like I've had that experience of being gang stalked. So it's not so easily written off anymore because it's a phenomenon. There are, I'm sure, a lot of scientists out there that would say it's a mass hysteria, that it's not based in any reality, and I'm open to that too. I'm open to that. I don't want to believe that there's gang stalking. I don't. I would love to be proven wrong, so I'm open to the scientific explanation as well for why larger and larger numbers of people are saying this. They might blame something like a mass hysteria, right? Or that we live in an information age that promotes feelings of paranoia and worries about privacy. That could be as well. What happened here? Who are these players? What is going on? What are some brass tacks truths about it? It's important to keep your eye on the star. That's what's really important. If you get too bogged down in this, it can really perpetuate the negativity of it, the terror. That nightmare was so terrifying. It literally took me, I haven't even all the way shaken it off, but I feel empowered now that I've been shown, because it was really unmistakable and not something I ever would have believed about this person. So the dream came from somewhere, right? It didn't come from me. I feel very strongly about that. Crossroads magic. You are, I think, somebody who has been wondering if this has happened to you, that somebody's been practicing a dark art against you, like destiny swapping, because the crossroads here is showing up over this magic to create a tower in your life, to block your progress, to harm you in some way, to block you. There's hope. Here's the stars again. This is what's important. Maybe the details about this are not super important. Like, I've noticed a couple times as I tried to understand all this, starting to go down a rabbit hole of like trying to make it add up, going back in time, finding my evidence, putting things together that remind me that I'm not crazy, that I think this really did happen. Things like that. Whether it's, I know now that it's not going to succeed. I'm not going to lose the life that was meant for me. But it was a very big dream that came with a lot of other synchronicities and stuff, like seeing the number 911 over and over and over again, like emergency. I kept being like, what emergency? Everything's okay. Like, I want to make some changes, but what emergency? But then there were other things that kept happening alongside it. Then that dream really showed me like, whoa, like there is something happening here. Tune in. Don't ignore that dream. I mean, the dream was so vivid that I literally could not ignore it. There was no way I could wake up from a dream like that and be like, oh, wow, what a bad nightmare, and go on about. I mean, it forced me to sit down and think back and review my life and reflect on the card readers I have seen out there on YouTube that do speak about destiny swapping. So I'm so grateful to them because they had the courage to talk about this at the risk of maybe being laughed at. Now I feel the courage to talk about it. Death, like they might have tried to take what's yours, take your life, right? Give you a negative life. All their sorrow, they want to trade a place with you, hand you all their sorrow, and they get to have your joy. So maybe somebody in your family, because here's the home card. You might have had an experience where you felt like it was somebody from within your family or your extended family. They tried to cut out your experience. They tried to cut you down here is what it looks like. But what's important to remember is not the fear about something like that happening to you, but about the fact that you have hope. So what does the hope mean here? What is the advice for you with the star card? Prayer, I think, is a big part of it, like keeping your eye on the heavens and something greater than yourself to guide you to safety. There's a lot of things that people do, like wearing a cross, burning a candle for your protective saint or something like that, that can help you feel more protected. What else can you do? Yeah, there's believe in your fortune. Believe in your own, believe that your fortune is yours, that your destiny is yours. Don't listen and keep careful about who is talking, you know, don't engage in this kind of, like, don't be going and telling everyone about this, because it may make you sound crazy. It might do more harm than good. So there's maybe been also words spread around you that's part of what you've tapped into, is like, are people speaking badly about me? Like, that can be a fear. It's a fear I had, right? Gossip can be really toxic. Messages coming in. So you might find out some things that help this feel more reality based for you, with some of this communication coming in and around other people's talk. So I don't want to spend too much more time on this. I just wanted to put this out there as a validation for you, so that you don't have to feel alone or in fear. There are things to remedy this kind of dark magic, including prayer. You know, one reader I read, Frankie's Just Tarot, that's all she uses is prayer. She just prays to God. She doesn't do rituals and ceremonies and whatever. She just prays. And prayer is a great protector, right? What am I doing here? I need to decide what. I'll read one of these cards because I think they're helpful to tie things up. What's important for you to do and how to focus your energy through an experience like this? You're going to be okay. You're going to be safe. Connect to something greater than yourself. Keep living how you know you are meant to live. Don't resort to these kinds of things. Trying to get revenge, like, you can do revert, like send it back. That's what I've been doing for years now, is sending back, return to sender magic, right? I don't actively try to harm anyone who I think might have ill intent towards me, but I do send it back, including someone just that feels like they don't like me, right? That's kind of evil eye energy. And so even if they're not meaning to, I just reflect that back. Like, that's evil eye is yours. Your anger towards me is yours to deal with. If you're not going to bring it to me, if you're just going to sit and harbor resentment and anger and disgust at my life, live with it, choke on it, right? It's not mine to take or my energy to absorb. It's mine. I can reflect that back to you. That's your toxic energy that you need to sit with, not mine, right? Things like that can help you. Oh, good. This is really encouraging here, these cards that came out. So the first card is number 9, Treasure Island in the reverse. This is advice for you to deal with this experience that you're having. Poverty consciousness and a sense of not enough cast a shadow on your path. The 5 of Pentacles. You're not going to have enough. You're going to be robbed. These ideas and core beliefs come with a high cost. Do you really want to proclaim yourself a victim of disappointment and failed expectations? Exactly. Are you avoiding success because you will grow so tall that others will want to cut you down? This scythe, right? I attracted envy at some points in my life, and jealousy and narcissistic rage, right? Or is it possible that you're caught in a fear that you will lose what you have acquired, so you hold on so tight that you miss the opportunities to expand? That's one thing that happened to me, is I started realizing, like, hey, if you want these little qualities of my identity that you're envious of and that you think will attract the person that you want to get away from me, take them. Like when Dr. Dre said, fuck y'all, you can have rap. Like, take it back, right? Like, these things that I've generated for myself, if somebody wants them that badly, choke on it. That's kind of how I've been. Like, I'm an innovator. I can reinvent myself and go on to be just as badass as I've always have been, right? You are challenged to change the way you see the world and move from a perception of limitations to a perception of abundance with this 4-leaf clover. Take a risk, for you have nothing to lose except your confinement in a prison of your own making. Open the door and find the abundance waiting for you to claim it. So that's amazing advice for an experience like this. 12, a change in the wind reversed. There's a song that's been really coming through too for me about this whole experience, which is by Amos Lee, called Is it a change in the wind? I'll have to look it up real quick. I'll post it in the comments though, because I've been listening to it almost on repeat because it just captures the sadness I have felt as some of these truths have sunk in for me, right? 12, a change in the wind. And it came in the reverse also. As you endeavor to create a prosperous life, you may encounter unexpected reversals that cause you to shift directions. God damn, like I just said, this is a good thing, so there is nothing to fear. Perhaps an opportunity you sought went to someone else. Perhaps you pursued something that you suddenly realize is not in your highest good. You might not be 100% clear on where you need to go, but you are certain that things are not going as planned. Circumstances are not in your control right now. Wait it out. You already know. You're already waiting it out in that Page of Swords energy. All will be well. Even better, actually. Trust. These fuckers are not going to take you down. They're not going to take you down. And in fact, what they tried to take from you is already old, right? It's already gone stale. I just keep seeing cobwebs. Like, take it, have it. You know, I've already moved way beyond that. Have it then, you know. And then the last card is card number 34, a leg up. And I know what this card means. It means that you're going to start being surrounded by people that do support you and are going to help you, including like guides and your God, your creator, right? 34. God, it feels so good to talk openly about this and not be afraid that I'm going to be perceived as crazy. I don't care. Like, I don't care. If you think I'm crazy, great. Let me know in the comments. Take me on as a social worker if you think it's irresponsible that I'm saying this. I'm happy to debate it with you. I'm not afraid of those kinds of discussions. You've come to a point where going it alone is no longer optimal for you. Life has a way of presenting you with the perfect people to align with who can give you a leg up during this next phase of your journey. Help comes to you in all the areas of your life where you need a boost. The trick is to accept that aid so freely given. When you embrace interdependence, allowing teamwork and independence to commingle, miracles happen. Now is such a time. Relationships that are healthy thrive on interdependence. It's important to recognize that you need others as much as they need you. You must allow people to support you, just as you are there for them. This is a time to be vulnerable, to speak up about your needs, and to ask for them to be fulfilled. Trust. You will be met with kindness and love. Don't expect others to read your mind, though. Ask and it is given. So I 100% love those cards. The only thing I would even add to it is be careful. Be careful who you go to with this. Go to people who are already open-minded to this kind of thinking. Don't go to your atheist friend and start talking to them that you think someone tried to destiny swap with you. You're not going to get support in that community, for example, right? So anyways, that's all. Thank you for being here. I know it's probably a little bit of a shorty message, but I'm so glad that I decided to do it because it's liberating me at the same time of any of the fear that is lingering around this experience. Their fate, now that I know, is theirs to deal with. This is their karma, and it's going to be bad karma because you don't just get to abuse somebody like that and terrorize their soul and their psyche and think that you're not going to have consequences. It's really, I don't even know how, in my experience, I don't even know how this person has been able to justify it to themselves because they're supposedly, that song Caroline, Roses by, God, Outcat? What am I saying? I know you like to think your shit don't stink. That song that came to mind just now. They're kind of horrible actions towards you is going to be theirs to deal with because you're sending it back and you're empowering yourself and you're recognizing you're not going to steal my destiny. Anything you tried to steal from me, you can have it. You don't have any power, right? I'll just create something new and it'll be even better. You're never going to be able to keep up. So don't even try. Or you go for it if you want. Keep trying. You're only digging your own grave, right? So thank you so much, and I will see you next time, and thank you for listening.